Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the Handyman Business YouTube channel. Got an interesting video for you today. I'm going to be answering questions that were posted on my latest project that I uploaded on my main YouTube channel. The main YouTube channel is just called the Handyman. That's where I upload all my projects, all my repairs, all my remodels go to that channel. A good video series on a fireplace makeover. Now, you can't just say that. Some titles I call it a historical restoration. Triggered the hell out of people. Then a renovation, a remodel. I don't know, I called it lots of different things. But there was a lot of questions, a lot of mass confusion. One of the topics was the price. How did it cost that much money?
How did you charge so much? Who would pay for this stuff?
You heard it. You heard it straight from the squeaky voice. We're going to get into the cost breakdown a little bit later in the video. This is the business channel. This is about money. It's about making money. Every single decision is about how is this going to make me money today and how is it going to make me money for the next 10 years. Because these customers have been with me for 10 years. How do you get these customers? Where do you find these people with so much money? Well, they don't have that much money. These are regular middle-class people. Another question was, why did they change it? Looked fine to me. A lot of people were saying it looked better. The before looked better than the after. And I would agree with them. The new style is not the look I like, the look I enjoy. I like rustic, I like mountainy, I like logs, I like rocks, I like stone. I don't like white marble, things like that. Don't worry, I'm not offended that you didn't like the after, but the customer did, and that's what counts. Another question is, why did they choose to put in a cheap electrical fireplace looking thing? Well, that's what the budget allowed for. They had an estimate to get a gas line run over there, and it was $2,500 just for the gas line. To get a full gas fireplace in there, turnkey, would have been over $12,000. The tiny little hole, well, that's what was originally built with the house in 1910. When people would throw wood in there, light it on fire, and that's how they would heat themselves. To put in a gas fireplace, they would either have to put in another like false front to get more room, because it's tiny. That square is tiny. And that was one of the options that I gave them for an optional, more expensive electric fireplace. Well, these guys are as green as it gets. They've got electric cars. They said many times that they want to do what's right for the environment. You know, gas is bad and burning wood is bad. And I did let it slip. I go, do you know where our electricity comes from around here? Huh? We burn natural gas to get electricity. You know, your electric car is actually a natural gas car. So I have worked with these electric fireplaces in the past. Higher end ones, real nice ones. You know, the wide ones, the ones that you see in lobbies of hotels and bars and in fancy houses. And I gave them an option for me to build another front. It sits out about this far from that brick, something for it to sit into. And it was out of their budget. I need to find a solution to give them what they want in the budget that they're wanting to spend. I could just retile the face here, and I don't know if they exist, but if you can find an electric fireplace that meets these dimensions, I can figure out a way to stick it in there and get electricity to it. That's how the design really developed. As far as the wood top, I really like the way the butcher block countertop mantle came out. It looks amazing in person. It looks very close to the pictures that they provided. I'm going to put some of those on the screen. I may have already done it, the pictures that they wanted. To get anything more than that, the price would have went up. Before we get into the price breakdown, someone asked the question, did I put a protective coating on the top of the mantle? The answer is yes. I put 3 coats of lacquer that you can actually get at the Home Depot. I did find at my local Home Depot, they charge like $50 for a quart. I drive across the state lines and I get a gallon for like 25 bucks. I'm not sure if that's some new EPA law that they can only sell it in certain quantities. Just the tile on the face, that herringbone, wasn't that easy to work with. It was very expensive. It was $700 just for the tile. That doesn't include me picking it up. That doesn't include grout or thin set. Now they did provide a sample on one of my meetings to drive to their house to talk about design ideas. I noticed right off the bat that a lot of those pointy peaks were chipped off, and I brought that to their attention. I said, you know, you're going to have to buy extra and I'll kind of sort through them and pick the best ones to put on the wall. Now, the only way to do this without any chips would have been for me to cut all the tile off the mesh backing, every single piece, and sort through it and get them without chips. Even then, you can still get a chip. The tile was marble, so it's not really like tile, it's stone, marble. That expectation was planted real early. Some of them had full-on cracks right through most of the tile. They can return those, so they returned those and got a refund for their messed up tile. I'm not sure what the price was on the hearth tile. I think they got that from Home Depot. That was probably only 40, 50 bucks. The mantle, the small butcher block countertop, was $250 before tax. I can't remember what it was after tax. You'll just have to go with it. So we're almost $1,000 into it, and nobody's done any work. Things have just been purchased. I had to put all that tile that I chipped off of there somewhere. That was $111 just in the fee. That doesn't include me removing it, me loading it into my truck, me driving there, risking getting my tires popped at the dump, and unloading it. So you got to factor that in there. I don't do anything for free. It's not cheap. Not cheap these days. You got to make a lot of money to live a, decent life these days. There was another day that I couldn't record at all, and that was when I put the hardy backer onto the fireplace. I bed it on there, troweled on thin set over the old brick and the old glue and old thin set, and bedded it right on there. That gave me a really good flat surface to work off of. That's another full day of work that didn't make it into the video. It just magically appeared. So keep that in your running tally. It worked out to be $2,000 in materials and $4,000 in my pocket. The clock starts ticking when they first call me up and say, "Hey, handyman, come take a look at our fireplace. This is what we want to do. This is why we don't like it." I drive to their house. I don't get to build them right then and there. That goes into the final fee. This workshop's about a $100,000 facility, maybe closer to $150 these days. If I'm in here using any of these tools, it's $250 an hour. Plain and simple. How many hours did I have into this? I'd say I had about 40 hours in it. I never ever put in a full 8 hours at their house. I would do 3 or 4 hours at their house, go run around, pick things up. I'd do maybe an hour and a half here, sanding and staining, lacquering. I'd go in and out of the house in between coats. Not that bad. Drive time included, I'd had about 40 hours into this project. What do you think? Is it too pricey? Too expensive? $6,000 before and after. If it was my house, it would have been gas. I would have ran the gas line myself. I would have brought the face out, made a proper proportioned opening for a gas insert to fit in. I would have done it all myself, obviously. You might see something like that in the future. I've got a couple old fireplaces that I've got to turn into gas inserts coming up in the next year or so. Probably won't happen in 2023, most likely 2024. So if you're interested in how someone would go about doing that, taking a very old fireplace and turning it into, all the lights are kicking off again, and turning it into gas, click the subscribe button on the main YouTube channel, click that bell so you're notified. If you've got questions, I'll be down in the comments answering away. You can contact me on Patreon. That link's always in the description. If you want caulk guns on your hats or your shirts, those links will be in the description. Okay, so gonna be a $250 mistake. This is also a practice run to see what this is going to look like and how long it takes me. I'm staying away from the front edge. I'll get the front edge when I do the top side. So this is not going to be seen. This is the bottom side. A little bit can be seen when you get down low and look underneath it. There'll be a little ring of exposed undercarriage, but most of it's getting covered up by trim on the underneath side, at least the overhang portion. Gloves. This will be the last coat on these guys. It really doesn't need it, but it's in the habit of doing 3 coats. So, let's try this. There it is. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.